One of the winter garden jobs is to clean up the asparagus and rhubarb bed. These perennial veggies take a little bit of work just once a year to get them going and keep them going nice and growing lush. What I'm going to do is basically clean off this weed that's grown over the asparagus, clean up around the rhubarb, rip off all the excess leaves, and then to compost the bed. Now, if you've never tasted asparagus fresh from the garden, cooked within the hour and eaten, you've missed out on something, because that is by far the best way to experience asparagus. When you buy it from a shop and it's old, half dried out, even what they call fresh asparagus doesn't have the flavour, and of course cooked it's very different again. So if you've got a garden and got a little bit of space, it's worthwhile putting in a little bed of asparagus. Yes, it takes quite a while to actually come into production and give you something, but it's worthwhile when it does. But asparagus does need feeding quite a bit. So I'm going to be here for a little while cleaning this up. Thankfully, this bed is next to the compost heap, so I don't have far to move all this. I can go straight into the compost. This is a great addition to the compost heap, and compost beautifully. Now, just cutting off these remnants of last year's that are sticking up just makes it easier to work over. It's already the beginning of shoots, I see. It's early, it won't be long before they start to grow. That's why it's important to get it done now. An old pair of secateurs is good for this. Don't mind getting dirty. Don't want to use the pair that you use for pruning your fruit trees. Now, some of the weed along the edge here is pretty hard to get at, and this is a great place to use a little homie. It's got the point gets in there nicely, allows me to loosen up that weed and get it out. There's chives growing along the edge here. They're just starting to shoot. They'll come away quite well. They combine very well with the asparagus because they're also somewhat perennial and they seed themselves. Okay, now it's time to work on preparing the rhubarb. What I'm going to do firstly is pull off all these outside older leaves and clear it away for a nice young growth. I'm still going to leave a fair bit. Rhubarb doesn't really set back too much here in winter, and especially this year it doesn't seem to have been reasonably mild. We've had a couple of bigger frosts, but nothing too cold yet. Now, this is a lot more rhubarb than we probably really need to grow. We don't ever use it all. But it's nice to have something that grows plentifully in excess and you can give away to friends and family. And if you really needed it, it would be here to give you a feed. It'd be pretty rough with this because rhubarb is very resilient. You could strip it right down and it would still be okay. Now, most of this rhubarb can go straight on the compost, but there's a few good ones. They're a little bit too good. And it's an excuse to have a feed, eat a bit of rhubarb. pick some of the best ones out. These are pretty skinny compared to what you get in the height of the season. They've really been running down at the end of the season. That's enough for a feed, so the rest can go on the compost. It's starting to give me some drizzly rain this afternoon, which is playing a bit of havoc with the filming. Since it's not a waterproof camera, I've got to be a little careful. Having cleaned it up now, my next stage is to give it a generous sprinkling of blood and bone. All these plants are quite nitrogen hungry, and this will give them some of the nutrients to really make sure they get away. What I'm adding now is a layer of compost. This is compost that I have bought. This is green waste compost. Simply don't produce enough. You seem never to be able to produce enough compost for your own needs. So I'll spread this out. This will be really nice to encourage things to grow. For the final layer, the icing on the cake, I'm adding some wheat straw. This will keep it nice and moist in summer. Keep the weeds down as well. The showers we were getting cleared, and we're getting a little bit of late sunshine now this afternoon. But while more rain is promised tonight, I'm going to give it a little bit of water just in case the rain is preceded by wind, or wind comes first, because dry straw and wind is not a good combination. You lose it very quickly. So a little bit of water settles it down. So that's nice to be able to tick off another job, winter job done, and this rhubarb and asparagus is now prepared for a good productive spring and summer, and I look forward to enjoying it.